Nigeria is at a turning point in its revenue governance that lawmakers are considering a constitutional amendment to give the Revenue Mobilisation, Allocation and Fiscal Commission stronger powers to enforce compliance and ensure fairer distribution of national resources. While this could reshape the country's fiscal framework and strengthen local government autonomy, experts argue that legal reforms alone are not enough. To truly drive sustainable growth, financial discipline, and good governance, it must be embedded across all levels of society and government. Joining us to unpack, this connection is Kingsley Ayozie, a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, give us a picture of your assessment, right, of this administration in terms of financial discipline and how public institutions have managed our resources.
First and foremost, we need to take a closer look at what is actually financial discipline. What does it entail? Financial discipline encompasses policies, practices that ensures that public institutions manage public resources for the overall good of the general masses. Like I did mention earlier on, these practices include strict adherence to budget and budgetary procedure. It encompasses proper risk management assessment. It also includes good governance. It entails strict expenditure control, etc., etc. Trying to assess the performance of the present administration vis-a-vis financial discipline and good governance, well, I will give them a pass mark because in some areas we have witnessed positive returns. More importantly, with the ongoing tax reform bill that was recently signed into law, that bill ensures that over time, the government will be able to generate revenue. Apart from that, it will also eliminate passive leakages and wastages within the system. So, on a general assessment, I give them a pass mark.
When it comes to financial discipline, I mean, it's interesting to hear, especially coming from the previous conversation we just had about there not being some sort of report on how our money is being spent. But aside from government spending, there are questions around remittance, disbursement, and now we're seeing the National Assembly, making moves to amend the law to sort of empower RMAFC. How do you see this creating some sort of shift, right, within how, revenue governance?
Well, one important thing that this proposed bill tend to achieve, if indeed in part, is that it will ensure that the revenues from the federation accounts go straight to the grassroots. A couple of months back, there was a Supreme Court ruling by Honorable Justice Iwim. That ruling centered more on local government autonomy and independence. Prior to now, what we have is that the local government and the state government seem to have a joint account. And oftentimes, it is what the state releases that goes to the local government. So going by this proposed bill, to me, is a welcome development in the sense that the bill will ensure that monies going straight to local government come straight from the federation account without making a stopover at the state and getting to them. So it is indeed a welcome initiative.
All right.
Like I said, if they get it passed
properly, implemented, and if they let it pass, like you have said. Now let's come to the commission that is being empowered to enforce compliance, right, especially with this amendment. At the RMAFC, they're not exactly, especially right now with the conversations around increasing government salaries, they're not in the best of books, with the public, right, when it comes to public ratings, because of some of the moves they have made in the past. Do you believe that they are best positioned to enforce compliance in that regard with this amendment?
Well, there is no other better agency as far as disbursement and revenue generation is concerned that will be able to do this job other than the Revenue Mobilisation, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The only thing we need to do is to, for the government to charge the leadership, let there be, strict adherence to their terms and references, because with that, they will be able to deliver on this mandate, except you are just trying to suggest that the government should go and enact another or set up another agency. No, all we need to do is to overhaul the system. No system is actually perfect, so to say, but with proper control, with proper guidelines, they will be able to deliver, especially when it comes to the fact that the agency is also being saddled with legal framework. It's not left for them to ensure that all their terms, everything they're going to do will be in line with the constitutional provision.
All right, and give us a picture of some of the powers that will now be handed to this Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission with this proposed amendment. Okay,
with the proposed amendment, some of the powers that will be shifted to the RMS has to do with the issue of revenue allocation. So they will be saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that revenues are properly allocated to all the various tiers of government. Apart from revenue allocation, this agency will also be saddled with the responsibility of making recommendation when it comes to remuneration of public office holders and government officials. In addition to that, they will also be responsible for constant review of this revenue formula, because one thing is very clear: this formula over time will need to be revised. If you look at the tax reform bill, prior to now, the federal government was actually retaining 15% of what is accruable. But in this reform bill, there is a shift from 15% to 10%. Meanwhile, the federal government, the state government, will now receive 55%, while 35% goes to the local government. So back to what I said, this agency will, from time to time, revise the revenue sharing formula to ensure that they are in tune to current development. One thing is very paramount: Nigeria of yesterday is not the same of today, and Nigeria of tomorrow will not be the same of today.
Good, hopefully.
Yeah. So it is now left for them to look at all the issues happening within the socio-political environment and think of harvest to actually apportion this revenue such that this yearning for good governance will actually be met.
And you're bringing me to the next question, which is, how is this proposed amendment going to affect you and I? How is it going to affect the citizens positively, hopefully?
Well, if you recall what I said when we were looking at the powers, one thing is very paramount. This proposed amendment will lead to proper management of government funds. And when funds are properly managed, you will be rest assured, that the general masses will actually receive something in return. Apart from that, too, it will also make funds available in the area of provision of infrastructure. No sane economy can actually develop meaningfully without infrastructure. These infrastructures covers on good road, potable drinking water, healthcare facilities, and what have you. So once this fund, because one thing about this proposed sharing formula or proposed bill is that funds will not be, disbursed straight to the local government. The local government are the ones that, so to say, interface with general masses.
Right.
So they will have funds at their own disposal to ensure that those yearnings for good governance will actually be delivered. So to me, it's a positive step in the right direction on the premises that we see to its full implementation, ensuring that we address the issue of corruption. Because one thing is very fundamental when it comes to fund management: corruption must be dealt with. Because if you are not able to deal with corruption, don't be deceived, this money will also go down the drain.
Right.
But
and
with proper address on corruption, then the general masses, you and I, will actually feel the impact of this proposed bill.
Indeed. And you have written, articles on financial discipline, especially when in government space. Let us through, and as we tie things together, some of the behavioral principles expected of government and public officials that will positively impact our economic growth as a nation.
All right. Yeah. I think I did an article that's focused on eliciting economic growth through financial discipline. That was published by Business Day last Monday. Part of the things that was captured in that article, which, so to say, was borrowed from the UK Nolan's report of 1995, played emphasis on 7 cardinal issues. What are these 7 cardinal issues? Government as an institution must be selfless. So selflessness must be enshrined in the way and manner those who are being called to lead us do things. Apart from being selfless in their decision making, government must showcase high-level honesty. You know, they must be able to stick to their words. Let their yes be yes. Whatever promise or promises you have made to general public must be followed to the latter. In addition to the issue of honesty, because we are looking at the principles, those at the helm of affairs must showcase integrity. In addition to that, the issue of leadership must not be overemphasized. As a matter of fact, government should be able to lead by example. I remember one thing when my dad was still around, you know, one of the things you normally do is that he hardly commands you to do something. You will see him do it, and you know that he's passing the message across. So on the issue of governance, they should be able to lead by example. So leadership by example is not negotiable. Again, the issue of accountability and transparency must not be left behind. So government must be accountable from time to time. It behoves on them to give an account of stewardship. The masses deserve to know how far their resources have been used and to what next again lies in waiting for them. So accountability must not be left behind. Again, government must be very objective. The issue of objectivity has to do with freedom of bias or influence. Under no circumstance should those at the helm of affairs allow bias to overrule their judgment. Then finally, based on that Nolan's report of UK 1995, the issue of openness must not also be toyed with. So government should be open. You don't say something and do another. So you must be open to the masses. By this, we can say we are actually on the road to the promised land.
Hopefully one day these are principles we see them swear by when it comes to financial discipline and the handling of public resources. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Kingsley. Yes, the pleasure. Yes. Kingsley Ayozie, Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst.